Guys, welcome back to Gardening with Creations by DX & Co. Today is March 19th, and so I thought I would get started finally. I'm about 6 to 8 weeks, well, 4 to 6 weeks out from when I can plant and ground with my frost date right here in Zone 6A. So roughly early to mid-May. A lot of people like to go as far as Mother's Day even. Of when in this zone anyway, when to put their crops out. Frost dates online are reflecting for Michigan this year roughly about May 2nd, at least in 6A. So I am going to go and get my seeds started finally. So I'm really excited about that. Today I'm going to be starting some tomato seeds and some cucumber seeds. My wife had mentioned she wants me to do some watermelon, so I'm going to try to get those going, as well as I just picked up some cabbage seeds. My son actually requested cabbage, so that was pretty interesting. So I'm going to try to get those started today. So let's get started. Okay guys, welcome back. So I won't bore you with the details of planting every seed. But I'm going to go ahead and show you exactly a good way that I'm going to get started. I'm going to use the Jiffy Seed starting mix. If you haven't seen the different soil types that I've used in the past to start seeds, then I'll link that video in the eye above as well as at the end of the video here so that you guys can check that one out. But I am going to use the Jiffy Seed starting mix because I find that it does have a pretty good germination rate. And I'd rather save the Miracle-Gro potting mix, honestly, for repotting some of my plants that I plan to up-pot, if you will, this year. So let's get started with, let me show you exactly what I mean by how I start filling these up. Okay, so for starters, what we need for our supplies, we need our seeds, yep, our labels, something to write with, yep, our potting mix, check, and some source of water. I prefer to use a watering can because what I'm using with my watering can is aquarium water, so water that's been pumped out of my aquarium from 2 days ago. So here's what I'm going to do to get started. I find the easiest way, because you want to make sure your soil is nice and moist when you are starting seeds. So what I'd like to do is put about a quarter of this filled up, fill it in with water, fill it up with a quarter more, fill it in with water, so on and so forth. So let's get going on that. Obviously this isn't everything that I'm growing in my garden this year. I will be growing lots of other things, some of which will be direct sown, others of which will be started a different way. So my hot peppers, I don't start in containers like this. My hot peppers or my bell peppers. Peppers actually require a lot of heat to get started. And when you are growing indoors, it can be very hard to get them to germinate. So what I like to do with peppers is grow them in a dark, warm place by actually germinating them in a paper towel. And I've done videos on that in the past. I can link that as well for you. But when I get started with my peppers this year, which may be in the next week or so, I will probably give you guys a kind of a demonstration on that. So as you can see, I just took some of this, just kind of shaking it right out of the bag into these containers here. Doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, let's be honest. I'm not filling it up to be perfect. Another way I like to do this sometimes is just grab it out by hand, scoop it in there, right? So I am, now that I've got about a quarter of the way full on these, let me see if I can show you, kind of look in there. Yeah, it's about a quarter of the way full. I'm just going to take my watering can or my source of water, if you want to take this over to the sink, whatever you're using for yours, and I'm just going to douse this. Now I've got this in a container that is not draining, so this is a catch-all container basically, if you will. It's not going to drain onto my table. Trust me, my wife wouldn't be too happy about that. So now I guess give that kind of a shake, a kind of overwater, a little underwater some others. It looks like, but that's okay. We're going to be adding some more soil just on top of that. So that should start absorbing the water that we have in there. This isn't a foolproof mix, but what it's doing is, our foolproof method, what it's doing is allowing the soil to get a good healthy mix with the water. And that way, if you try to fill these up all the way and then try to water it in, the water a lot of times won't penetrate the roots. So it will take some time to really get the water mixed into the soil, and you really need a good wet soil, not saturated but wet, like just to the touch, kind of like you would a house plant or something after just watering it. So that way your seeds have a good base of water to draw from. And with us putting it in that greenhouse style, it actually gives us the ability to create a lot of humidity in the air, and which creates a lot of heat, which is what seeds love to germinate. So what I like to do is, usually I'll take a pencil, you could even use that for whatever you're using there for labels, kind of just mix in each cell individually, all right? Give yourself some ability to just kind of mix that water in. So this seed starting mix is very powdery, very dry. It's not real heavy on the soil style because of the coconut coir in there. So it does take a lot of extra water. So I find that it's very nice to just kind of mix it in with the pencil or something. The pencil I like because it's wooden. I know that it's not leaching any chemicals into there. And then I can always just wipe this off with a paper towel, and this pencil's still able to be used. In fact, pencil shavings make great compost. Though, side note, for those of you who don't know, a lot of people will take their pencil shavings and just drop them in the compost. It is wood after all. I'm sure there's some controversy. I'll probably get some controversy about the dye in the pencil, and I'm going to be honest, I think people overthink things sometimes. Now I've got a lot of water in my tray that has soaked through already, so that's kind of a bummer. I may have to take this out to the sink and kind of dump it out, but that happens. So from where I'm at now, I've still got a lot of room left, and you always want to make sure that this is to the top before you start planting. So I'm going to go ahead and keep going here. So I've got all, and whatever soil mix you decide is best for you when you're planting, that's entirely up to you. I just found I do get a fairly healthy germination rate with the Jiffy Seed starting mix, and so I'm looking for 100% germination rate on all my seeds because I don't plan on overplanting seeds this year. So I don't plan on having 100 cherry tomato plants. I'm only looking to do 2 plants this year. Last year I did 4, but I'm going to do 4 cells and pick the best 2. And then I plan to do, you know, leave a plant, give a plant style with the neighborhood. And I will try to capture some of that on video for you guys this year, but I plan to do something like that this year with the neighborhood. So any extra plants that I have will certainly go to that. Okay, so I've got a nice healthy layer of soil. Let me get the rest of this watered in properly like I showed you, and then we will go ahead and start planting our seeds. Okay, so I've officially watered it in. Took a few times of just getting it in, packing it down, water it a little bit more. You can see I still have some water left in the tray, a little bit of water, not flooded. That's okay. It's just going to create humidity in the air. It'll eventually evaporate. And it'll also continue to feed the soil and keep it moist as it leaches up. Because remember, all these trays have holes in the bottom, so I'm okay with a little bit of water. Everybody's growing style is a little bit different, but for me, that works out fine. You can see I'm not looking for perfection. You can see that it's a mess. I don't care that it's a mess. I'm not trying to grow the perfect plant. I'm trying to grow for me, right? I'm trying to grow a crop out of this soil. God didn't make everything perfect, so everything out there is different. So I'm not looking for perfection in my plants. I'm not looking for greenhouse garden trying to get you to buy my plants. I'm just looking to grow things, and so I don't need to raise these to the top and top all of these off. I don't need to do all that. I just need to plant some plants. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna poke some holes in each of these and get these seeds in there. I won't do that in this video, as you guys have all seen videos on that before. You know how to plant seeds, follow the directions on the back of the package. But I just wanted to update you. So there it is, guys. I'm gonna finish up here, get these all planted, get them in the mini greenhouse in my living room. The situation is that it is middle of May, almost excuse me, it is the middle of March, almost towards the end of March, and I'm just now starting my indoor seeds, and that's perfect because that's what's the right time frame for me. It's going to be different on your frost season. Make sure you understand about 4 to 6 weeks out. Make sure you understand that for your area. But this is how I get the seeds, the soil moist, get it prepped and ready to go. And I'm going to get these seeds started, and I'll follow up with a video later on that shows you kind of the progress that we made off of just this date. So as always, guys, I appreciate you watching. If you like this video, give it a good thumbs up. Share it out with somebody who's looking to start some seeds indoor and just kind of curious about how and what's the best method. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to get started. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Stay safe and enjoy your gardens. Okay, last minute. Had to share because I was getting more labels for this video. I'm going to make labels out of this. I've done a video on that in the past. And I literally opened this up to start cutting it up to make my labels and found that I had forgotten about all of these seeds that were given to me that I had just stuffed in here for a later date and time because they're unopened. So, I mean, this was just over the winter, so it's not like these are really old seeds, but literally forgot about them. Thought I'd share. Thought it was funny. Joys of being a gardener. Take care.